I'm sitting here at my table. I just was getting my incense blend ready for this year's Samhain. And I realized I really need to come on here and make a video, talk to everybody a little bit about Samhain. You'll have to forgive me. I am in a recovery. I'm in recovery from a trip. I've just been gone for, I don't even know, a couple weeks, 10 days. Very involved in a trip we made beginning of the month off to my SCA adventure. We had a giant job of running the arts and sciences this year, and as long as our household encampment, as well as hosting a period cooks play date, day-long play date, period cooking, singing with the choir, doing all kinds of activities. And I'm dead tired. I have to admit, I'm dead tired. I came home sunburned and lungs full of dust and dirt, and I woke up yesterday morning. We got home Sunday. Yesterday morning I woke up raring to go, but I couldn't really do it. I actually fell asleep in front of my computer a couple times. My eyes were swollen from, I guess, the dust. And, oh, my lips are chapped. I'm just a mess. And I'm realizing, I had my nails done. I said in the last video, I think, that I had my nails done for this special event that we were having. And I realize now why I never paint my nails, because people who use their hands really can't do nail polish. Like, the way that I use my hands, they can't really do it. So I need to find some way to get that off. I think there's a remover you use to get it off. But I haven't even had the strength to do it. I have to say that. I apologize. I had a lot of good things I wanted to share with you before Samhain, and I really do intend to do that. But before that, I thought, I have quite a few videos, earlier videos, that talk about some of the fun things that I do for Samhain. And I had every intention of putting the little card things. I see other people do videos and go, I want to link to my video up here, and when they do up here, a little video link appears, like some special thing. I don't know how to do that yet, so I think I'm going to link below. I really am. Everybody says they're going to link below, and they don't normally do it, but I'm going to really link below, because I want you to look back at some of the fun things that I've done for Samhain. Every one of us apparently lives in a very big way to get ready for Samhain. I appreciate that. That is something, as much as I'm a believer in sort of letting one Sabbath play out before you get to the next one, Samhain is a very big one for witches. Samhain is very big. It is our New Year's for many people. Those who follow the wheel of the year, it is the final harvest, which is imperative. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that now, why it holds so much weight of importance in the Celtic wheel of the year. But it's just fun. It's fun. It's a time when it's really cool to be a real witch. And everybody wants to be a witch at Samhain. But to be a real witch at Samhain is pretty cool, I have to say. Pretty cool. That's what everybody wants to be, like us. I just wrote down a few notes last night since I didn't have the strength to talk to you, in case it was too long before I forgot what I wanted to say. So excuse me for looking down at my paper. But before I go on, I want to say the things that I want to talk about. Stay tuned, because some of the things I'm going to talk about, I want you reference that I'm going to try to link back here, are some of the fun ways that, they're very fun, but there's a reason behind all these fun things that we do at Samhain. Reminding you of the first one I just made at my incense blend, and I know I have a video, I'm going to find it, that tells about, I don't always make the same blend every Sabbath, but Samhain I tend to make pretty close to the same. And I do have a video, an earlier video, which explains what I put in my recipe and why. And I'm going to link that here, because if some of you are wondering, some good things to use for Samhain. It's a suggestion. Some of you might find some ideas from what I do. Okay, so that's one of the videos that I will link to. I know I did another video talking about the origins of the jack-o'-lantern, and medievally they carved well, turnips. Here it's a special turnip that they have in England. Here we don't have quite the same turnip. Here I think we use rutabagas. I'm not sure. I think so. But they're the cutest as anything. And I have those. I have a couple of videos, at least 1 or 2 videos on that. I have videos where I have made some dollar store funds into some pretty creepy things. I talk about doing some real life things like making protection jars, using apples to represent the crown, etc. So there's some things. I'll try to weave through some of my videos for you. Please excuse my breathlessness. I really have had an allergy attack of some kind to either the smoke or all the wood fires we had, but also we're in a very remote area, very dusty, and the trees, I'm not sure about the trees. I think I might be allergic to something. I did want to say something very magical happened. I felt it was very magical. We have a tree that we hung up against our pavilion, our personal pavilion. Every year is kind of a landmark for us, and it's a tree that has some nice shade, and we put our dogs underneath that tree to keep them out of the sun. And we've kind of formed a little bit of an attachment. Well, every year we see all kinds of animals. We hear all kinds of animals, coyotes, and we've had bats, and of course geese and skunks and various animals, wild animals. And always we have owls. There are always owls around that you could be sitting quietly in the camp and you just have the sensation of the owl sweeping out over your head and out over the water, which we've seen them. It makes you look, and all of a sudden you see them low, ready to come in the rush that is out on this little island in the middle of the lake. This year, we were sitting there, all of a sudden we heard this conversation between owls, like 2 owls talking in a storm, having a conversation, and we realized they were in our tree right above our heads. And we went out in front of the gathering hall, our gathering hall, and we look up and there's an owl on the very top of the tree and another owl right below it at the next highest resting branch, and you could see like this much of the owl. And we had a communication. I mean, I felt we had this communication. They just were looking at us, we were looking at them. You could see every line of expression in their face. And they really were checking us out. It was so very cool. Oh, it was so very cool. It was, I don't know, I just sort of got the chills. It was very magical. Being that close, we were really that close. And they were as interested in what we were saying as we were in what they were saying. I think they were probably up there going, what are they talking about down there? Look at the people right under our tree. And we were saying, look at the owls right above our conversation. Anyway. Samhain. I just wanted to give you a little short talk about Samhain. And when I say this, I want to say, yes, Samhain is separate from Halloween. They are 2 different things, but Halloween is really a part of Samhain. Halloween was born from Samhain. It is a whole thing unto itself, but its roots are based very firmly in the final harvest. Now, what do we mean by the final harvest? Well, we talk about in the middle of the year, there's 3 harvest festivals. First is Lammas, which is the grain harvest. And we talked about the grain and taking all of the grain out of the garden out. Everything had to be used. If you weren't going to use it and eat it, it had to be burned. And making a corn dolly from the last of the grain to be saved, to put into the earth, to the return of the earth into springtime, and now we're springtime, and in milk, or whenever it varies on tradition, to put back into the ground, to take from the ground again. Okay, now when I say that, I want to make it very clear that the ancient Celts did not have spring. The ancient Celts had winter and they had summer, two different seasons of the year. Samhain marked the beginning of the darkness, of the dark half of the year. The second harvest is Meban, which is the fruit harvest, and that's when the fruits would be picked and prepared and dried, etc. And wines would be made, etc. Or some would be just stored, left to store as long as they could hold them. And then Samhain, eventually we get to Samhain, which is the meat harvest. That doesn't sound very good, and it doesn't sound very good to vegetarians for sure, but it was very important to the ancient Celts. The last harvest, all three harvests were meant to prepare for survival during the winter. You needed your grains, you needed your, collect your seeds and keep your grains. You needed your fruits, those kind of crops, your squashes, whatever you had, and you needed your meat. The animals were brought down from the hills, brought in from the pastures, and any animal that could not be fed and kept through the winter was slaughtered, and the meat was prepared for storage, either through smoking, drying, different kinds of ways, or it was eaten right away. What could not last, like the offal, like they used every bit of the meat, the stomachs, the intestines, the brain, those kind of things, brains, couldn't keep those things. So they would have great feasts to eat what could not be saved. To eat what could not be saved. Talking about what was going to be saved. If you did not have September's fruit and August's grain and October's meat set aside, survival was not likely for you during the winter. It was very, very important. You can see how the emphasis was put on it at the time. This is not unlike the Thanksgiving story that we have here in America. We talk about Thanksgiving. Some people don't like it because maybe some of the false ideas that people have gotten with relationships with the natives who were here at the time, with the indigenous people who were here at the time, formerly the Indians they were called. But it is very true that the Pilgrims, when they came to this country, did not have harvests, adequate harvests, and as a result, many did not survive that first winter. They lost many, many of their people during the first winter. It wasn't until they learned some of the preservation food techniques, how to, first of all, have more success in their gardening and in their hunting and their, etc., but how to preserve what they could preserve, how to preserve it, ensure their survival. They were very thankful for that. And of course, that same feast, it might be falsehood what they had for their feast, but the fact is, not everything could be stored, not everything could be prepared and dried and saved. Some things you're going to eat. And when you get together, everybody, to prepare, it's like a quilting bee, all women getting together to prepare a quilt. So a quilt was people getting together to make sausages, because you could make sausages using intestines, let's say, and some bits of this meat or that, and stuff them, and you could smoke those and dry those, and some of those could be saved. So in that way, some of that stuff could be saved. But some of the stuff had to be eaten, like I said, and there you have a big feast. Now, that's the part everybody knows about, the harvest. But that's not the only harvest that goes on at this time of the year. This is the time to acknowledge also those who did not survive. This is when the queen of the underworld comes to harvest for herself. Things that are not survived, she comes and takes to the underworld with her. But also at this time, she also allows those she has taken in the past to come to the veil, which is very thin at this time, and dance with those with the living. This is where a lot of us here in California and other places know of the Dia de los Muertos, the idea of the Day of the Dead. The Mexicans celebrated this time of the year, October 3rd to the 2nd, this celebration of their ancestors and their dead relatives, their dead friends. They make ofrendas, they build ofrendas, altars to these people, things that they loved, foods they enjoyed, items that they might have liked, photographs. Because it's believed that the veil is thin, and this is their one opportunity to have a bit of a reunion with their loved ones during this time. But along with the reunion of the loved ones comes, they're not the only dead that can approach the veil. The ancient Celts feared harmful spirits at this time, just like we talk about in our modern Halloween. Okay, so in those times, people would go to a lot of trouble to stay inside. They lit their fires for the winter. They had a big bonfire celebration and lit their fires and went into their homes. And if they were going to go out, it is believed that they wore some kind of a disguise sometimes to go out if they had to go somewhere. They didn't want to be recognized by harmful spirits, which may be how the first idea of wearing a costume or a mask at Halloween came from. It's possible. It's possible. Now, when we talk about, some people, I've heard some people in here, I'm sort of jumping around my thought, but when I was mentioning the ofrendas and the Day of the Dead, a lot of us here share our ancestral altars all the time. And the question of whether this is cultural appropriation or not comes up. And like, are we doing something that is not ours to do? We're not Mexicans. We don't, why are we building ofrendas or whatever? I don't think everybody calls them ofrendas, but I just want to remind you that the Celts did likewise. We're talking about before they ever arrived in Ireland, they were doing this. And they arrived in Ireland something like 2,500 years ago. So, the idea of communication with loved ones who have gone through the veil is not exclusive to the Mexicans. And as a matter of fact, the Mexicans, their whole Day of the Dead customs, I think, originated with the ancient Aztecs. So these customs really go way, way back in many different cultures. Okay. So, anyway, whatever it is that we're thinking about and enjoying at this time of the year, we're excited about it. We're excited. And that's why I'm excited as well. I'm anticipating. I've got you might have seen it before. I'm anticipating the candy corn harvest. I've said this before. It's one of my favorite things of the season. But harvesting can be literal. It can be a literal harvest from your garden, or it can be harvesting gifts that you have received during the course of the year. Just like we make New Year's resolutions, some of us do in the New Year's of the calendar, of the modern calendar. Many people at this time of the year harvest whatever they have what they've gained from this year, and they consider what it is that they wish to, I can't talk, whatever it is they wish to sow for the coming year, whatever their intentions are for the coming year. We've done a lot. That's the last video I talked about. I talked about laying your intentions down and into reading, exploring some shadow work. And I think that's a really fun way to do it. But it's a really good time of the year to do that. But I also want to say that this time of the year is fun. And please don't get me wrong. I am all for the decorations and the candy, the parties, and the ghouls and that kind of thing. I believe the intention behind the Dia de los Muertos is, I got the idea when I went to Olivera Street. I have a couple videos in the past that I did on our trip to Olivera Street one year for these celebrations. here in Los Angeles, there's a lot of big celebrations for those. And the idea is to make fun of what you might fear. People fearing what they do not know, what they fear of death coming to take them, making fun of it. If we make fun of it, make a joke of it, it's not so scary. I think that's a lot what people do. I think a lot of people who are scared by them, you know, the monsters, etc. So I am no way trying to keep anybody from having that kind of fun. I have that kind of fun myself. I'm going to a costume party myself. I'm going to be doing, you know, just the same kind of things. I don't trick-or-treat at this age, and I really don't usually take trick-or-treaters to my house anymore. I did when the kids were young, but I really don't anymore. Not that I'm against it. To be honest, I don't want the candy in the house or I'll eat it. Other than the sacred candy corn, which I consider to be a vegetable, by the way. But I just want everybody to keep in mind that while you're celebrating Halloween, that you realize it is not, Halloween is not Samhain. There's so much more to it than Halloween. I mean, Halloween has nothing to do with the harvest, actually. It's, you know, even though the candy corn implies it, but it really does not. The decorations, some of the decorations, the fall decorations, and how they naturally flow into Thanksgiving time, and the pumpkins and etc. Which I always have pumpkins on my porch. I always have them. They're symbolic, really, of the harvest rather than of trick or treat. But I'm just maybe hoping that everybody just gives a pause and thinks about that harvest, because eventually we will not be surviving the harvest. And that's sort of the point of this time of the year. So connecting with our future, actually we're connected with our future, aren't we? So we are kind of acknowledging it in a way. There's a lot of really good blogs online that talk about different ideas, different meditations to use at this time of the year, which I rather like. I don't want to go any further with you. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview. I'm very sorry that I'm so exhausted, but I'm trying to get myself back up in here. I'm trying to recover. All I want to say is, please check out. I wish you would check out some of the links that I'm going to provide below, because I'm really not such a wet dish rag as you think. I mean, I'm not a Debbie Downer on Halloween. I really love Halloween. I do, and I want to show you some of the fun things that I've done in the past. Maybe you get some ideas. So I'll be back in a couple of days. Hopefully, I'll be back in a couple of days, maybe with some little new activity for us to try. But in the meantime, I'd love it if you checked out my little ones. Okay. Anyway, I'm happy to be back. Oh, and I wanted to say, the last video, I'm really proud of myself. The very last video that I had was something that I had filmed a while ago. I know everybody does this like it's no big deal to everybody, but to me it was a very big deal. I didn't know how to do that. I filmed it a while ago and then scheduled it to be made public on the day of my choosing. So while I was out at my SCA event, a video came up, and I think that's really cool, except it kind of made everybody think I was around, and I wasn't around, so I feel bad. I missed some communications with people who thought I was here, and I wasn't here, so. But we're working on that. Anyway, I was very proud of myself. So, anyway, but I am back. I'm back, physically back now, and I will wake up, get some energy, and I will do some preparations on my own for Samhain now that it's time, and I will hopefully share some of that with you. In the meantime, I am so thankful for you who have stayed with me and who have made it through this video. They must be draining your energy from your body, because it's kind of draining me too. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. As always, I'm Rebecca, and I wish you blessings. and a bountiful harvest. Good stuff.